NRK versus Nice Robot 117. These two picked the magic number. I threw out a number range. It was 35, and these are the two who picked 35, and now they are showing us what the story is in the Smith-Morra Gambit. This is a very informal case of King of the Hill that we have going on. The first game, and we'll do it Armageddon format. The player who is black, Nice Robot. If you draw, you advance, and I will go fishing for another opponent for you. So let's see. Smith-Morra, and now we have black going for a Fianchetto setup. Could this be punished quickly? I wonder about that. Something tells me maybe e5 is on the cards. Might be there. Pawn push if knight takes. That'll be killed. Knight takes, pawn takes, and the typical deflection of the queen, of the king away from the queen with bishop takes f7. e5. And by the way, YouTube players better not be listening to the stream. You better have the stream muted, because I will throw out some duds. Oh, hang on. Okay, I think e5 does turn out to be good. Watch out for the stream tactics. They will get you every time. Not every time. I'm exaggerating. You know what I mean, though. So I think this is a good advance. Okay, you could. I think white could always play against an isolated pawn here, and also look to show their lead in development as well. So with this, by having the pawn capture on e, I guess the knight is looking to pounce on this square, but I don't know that this is really the correct way to go, for lack of better words, right? Because f takes e, if knight g5, we have d5, slams the door right on that bishop, and then the knight gets kicked around. Although black has to be a bit careful about ever kicking a knight from the g5 square, because g6 is very tender. It's a very tender square. Come on, am I the only one who uses that word to describe a square? That's a tender square, a tender pawn it would be. So knight g5, h6, you have to be concerned about g6. Maybe white could just castle. White has a development lead, but again is down 2 pawns. Careful. Careful, careful, careful. A minute disadvantage on top of a 2-pawn disadvantage right now for white. I'm not sure what other candidate moves there would be. Queen e2, castles, the bishop. I really don't think about moving the dark square bishop. I like castles, queen e2. That's really what's coming to mind. If queen e2 is met with d5, I like the bishop still keeping an eye on this diagonal. Maybe there could be some sacrifices on d5 later. Like you could envision a rook on d1 and smashing open on this square. Knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes, being on the queen, and if black is castled, if the rook is able to capture on this square and be hitting the queen and then setting up some rook move with this discovery on g8. Follow that? You have to envision some sacrifice on d5. Queen e2 comes to mind. But white would have to be working a bit more to do what? To get that type of sacrifice in. Getting rid of the knight on f6. If I had to pick a side, I am going with black, I'm pretty sure. Although, I mean, if this pawn falls, then I start to worry a little bit for black. King safety issues. White, certainly the more safe king. Queen e2, get all the pieces working. Castle, you still have to worry about this diagonal. I'm assuming d5 would be played, but you know what? There is some drawback with that. d5 shuts the door on the bishop, but it opens up the e5 square for these pieces. If e5 is played, well, you're not going to be castling as easily. This pawn is in a pin. My first thought, attack that pawn. Attack the pinned piece. Queen d2, looking to get rid of the dark square bishop, and also maybe preventing rook takes bishop stuff. So, watching this, and I don't think this is the direction to go in. The bishop, I think, needed to do something else. Although, okay, maybe there is something behind this. Take out the knight so that you have better control over the e5 square. So when I see a move like this, I'm thinking white is trying to focus more on the dark squares, restrict these guys, but now it's running away. So not much of it was accomplished by playing to b5 and then back here. The knight is hit, knight e4, my first thought. Is there really a better square? Probably not. 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Times are a bit more even. Not that minute disadvantage like just a little bit ago. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook to c1, rook to e1. These are the quick candidate moves that I have. Rook to e1. Rook to e1, rook to c1. Maybe h4 or h3. If you do h4, you're looking to break down this pawn structure. That might be something. That's definitely might be something, because this knight I don't know that you can rely upon. A lot of times if there's a knight on f6 and you're trying to do h4, h5, it's not a great thing because the knight is there to prevent that structure from being broken down with h5. But without him around, now this is more purposeful, dual purpose, right? Whoa, I was not expecting this. So black goes forward with the undoubling of pawns, and we could have a tsunami of pawns with e5, and we are having that. White is now getting pushed around, and I still think h4 should be played for both flight square reasons and, again, to do something against the black structure. This king doesn't have any safe moves. Bishop here, I think you keep these guys sitting. You would much rather have white tied down to the defense of the bishop, and you would much rather just have a white bishop on h6 opposed to a queen on h6. She's too difficult, too strong a piece on the h6 square. 139 to less than 2 minutes. Rook takes pawn. What is that? I think white might be trusting black. Is white going to take the pawn? They should. Okay. A lot of times you might see just the rook reacting, you know, or the knight reacting, but that's just a free pawn. Queen h6 to h7 is a mate threat. If pawn push, knight takes pawn, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop back, block, and I think it's there to save. This is mate in 2. Black is down. Queen h6. White's going to see it. That's why they played rook h4. That's mate next. King has to go in the corner. Queen h7. Game over. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. As soon as that bishop left the scene, that dark square bishop, queen pounced right on that h6 square. Queen h7 next. GG. All right. Good game, guys.